טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר, בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. להגיד בבוקר, בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. יאללה 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 יאללה
Oh, more people have joined. Good morning, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Very good to see you. Please always want to just remind you about this Zoom room. Though it's a box, you don't have to stay in the box. You can move and you can jump way beyond the boundaries of these boxes. You can also decide that stillness is what you would like today and close your eyes and just take in the host, however feels right. We get in this position with this box, but it doesn't need to, that doesn't need to be the fullest, because I actually imagine that when I reach past the box, that I'm reaching right into the rooms that you are in and touching you in a safe COVID kind of way. So you can also do that, stretch from time to time and experience moving into each other's boxes. Let's just take a moment right now to roll out our necks. It's always a good thing to do in these weeks of so much digital. Let's just do a big yummy head roll to one side and a head roll to the other side. Nice. I invite you to put your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly. And take a breath that moves both your hand and both hands forward and both hands back. One hand on chest, one hand on belly. We're going to move both forward and backwards. Feel the growing and shrinking that happens with breathing. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tahorahi. God, the soul you've given me, it's pure, it's good, it's worthy. Every morning we assert this every day. If you have this book, it's on 174, and if you want to use the digital version, it is in the chat. Ellen just posted it, and it's also on 174. Elohai neshama.
אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורי, אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורי, כל זמן שהנשמה בקרבי מודה אני, כל זמן שהנשמה בקרבי מודה אני, אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי תאורי, אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי תאורי, כל זמן שהנשמה בקרבי מודה אני, כל זמן שהנשמה בקרבי מודה אני, יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה יאללה לילה לילה יאללה 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 לילה לילה ya ilai ya la 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 ya la 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 la
Beautiful. We continue with the morning blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר נתן השכל ובינה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוקח עברי.
Who opens the eyes of the blind.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים.
Frees the captive.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים.
Up the fallen.
Page 176 if you're following along. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקע הארץ על המים.
Who stretches the earth over the water.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המכין מצעדי גבר.
Who strengthens our steps.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ערומים.
Clothes the naked.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן ליעף כוח.
Give strength to the weary.
Page 177. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מעפעפיי.
Remove sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בצלם אלוהים.
The image of God.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בן חורים.
Has made me free.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל.
Made me a Jew.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזר ישראל בגבורה.
Girds Israel with
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
Who crowns Israel with splendor.
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה.
Hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah.
Amen.
Amen, amen. We continue into the Pasuka de Zimra. Brucha she'amra. It's on page 183, and it's in the masculine here, but we sing it in the feminine, and you can also sing it or just within your body with no words, however you want to enter into Brucha she'amra. Do so now.
La 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la ya yo lo 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ברוך השם והיה עולם ברוכי ברוכה עושה בראשית ברוכה אומרת ועושה ברוכה גוזרת ומקיימת ברוכה מרחמת על הארץ ברוכה מרחמת על הבריות ברוכה משלמת שכר טוב לאוהביה ברוכה חיה לעד מקיימת לנצח ברוכה מודה ומצילה ברוכה השמה יא אילי אילי יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא 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 לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה לה יא לה 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 לה
We move into Ashrei. It's been our practice each Shabbat morning to keep adding more verses to this new melody that David and Sally created for us for Ashrei. So now we're going to go up to Lamed. We've gotten all the way to Lamed, everybody. This is pretty exciting. So Ashrei is on page 185.
אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יהללוך. אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יהללוך. סלה, סלה. אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו, אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו. סלה, סלה. תהילה לדוד.
All right, here we go, 4 at a time. 4 little verses at a time, page 185. הרוממך אלוהי המלך, ועברך שמך לעולם ועד, בכל יום אברכך, והללה שמך לעולם ועד. גדול אדוני ומולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר. דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וגבורתך יגידו. סלה, 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 סלה. From the letter Hey, here we go. Hadar, Hadar kevod hodecha, ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך, ועזות נורתך יאמרו, וגדולתך ספרנה. זכר רב טובך יביעו, וצדקתך ירננו. חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים מוגדל חסד. סלה, 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 סלה. The letter Tet. טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו. page 186. יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך. כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו. להודיע לפני אדם גבורותיו, וכבוד הדר מלכותו. סלה, 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 סלה. Skip to the bottom, the very last one. ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה, 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 הללויה,
Wow. Thank you. Wait continue with Shochen Ad. It's on 192 in the middle of the page.
שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נאווה תהילה בפי שרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומן ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות ריבות עמך בית ישראל רינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. Continue page 193. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אלכי העולמים.
Amen. We continue with the Hatzi Kaddish, 187.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון וביום איכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם מעולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
I'm sorry I got a little off with the page counter there. Well, that was 194. And now we're going to move into the Baruch Hu, which is on 195. And I invite everybody to stand now. And I'm going to turn towards the beautiful arc that Mark made. Boom. There it is. I would like to take a minute and do what we were just exploring with the kids in the kids service this morning, which is invite you to take a moment to just feel the bow in your body today. You could start with just a little bow of your head, and then you could go just a little lower in the bow. The rabbi said that you should bow enough so that coins can get stuck in your armpits when you bow. If you see what I mean, it means you need to be curled over enough that coins can get stuck in your armpits. Always an interesting image. But I grab onto anything I can get movement-wise from our ancient rabbis. And then just because, let's just go as far as you can go down this morning into kind of a bow stretch before we do the Baruch Hu. If you want to go all the way down to your toes, if you want to just bend your knees, whatever feels good to your back, to your legs. You take a sigh, big breath. Slowly roll up. Baruch is from Berech, which is knee. So when we bow, we're going to bend our knees and then roll our body forward. And I just invite you to play with that movement of bending knees and rolling body forward on this Baruch Hu as we bow to the divine all around us and also within us as we bow in these gorgeous bodies of ours. Here we go, the Baruch Hu.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
ברוך אדוני מבורך בעולם ועד.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or v'rei chosech osei shalom uvorei et hakol. And we continue with Or Hadash. It's at the bottom of page 195, a new light.
אור חדש, אור חדש, על ציון תאיר. אור חדש, אור חדש, על ציון תאיר. ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאור, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאור, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאור, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאור. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
We're hurling towards the Shema now, hurling in love towards the Shema. Ahava Rabbah, abundant love, is what we're going to center ourselves in right now. I invite you to just breathe in some love wherever you're feeling it right now in your life. Is it through people? Is it through the nature around us? Is it, David got to go up to Sequoia, and I got to, what is it called, sort of vicarious loving, watching a video of Lev swimming in a river. So whatever has filled you with love this past week, so go ahead and fill yourself with that. I got to stand with Josh and Danny. I see you guys. Last night we stood, and actually in the early part, just before Shabbos, we stood in Montrose holding signs, a sort of living history walk of racism in the United States. That was powerful. It was an experience of loving. Whatever it was for you this week that's filled you with moments of loving, go ahead and conjure that up now inside of you as we chant together Ahava Rabbah and move our way into the Shema. Remember, in the last part of it, if you're wearing a tallis, you're going to gather the tzitzits just before we enter the Shema, the four corners of them, and hold them close to your heart. If you're not wearing a tallis, you could just sort of reach around to the four areas around you and gather them in close to you, gathering all parts of ourselves, all parts of our world together to hold close to our heart. Ahava Rabbah. 198.
וקירבתנו לשמך הגדול. סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Taking a deep breath as we prepare to enter the Shema, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling your spine floating all directions. Deep breath in.
Shema Eloheinu.
We'll move into the chanting of the Ve'ahavta. Now I invite anyone who would like to unmute yourself for our cacophony of Ve'ahavta in the most soulful of ways. Let us chant together, just up to mezuzah, because we'll do the third paragraph this morning about the tzitzit. Here we go. Ve'ahavta
אשר אנוכי לפניך היום היום הלבבך ושם לבניך ואתה
וקשרתם על ידך והיו תותפות ותותפתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Page 202. Go ahead, David.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בתל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Chechem emet. Beautiful. Friends, we move now to courage. Courage. Oh boy. Mi chamocha. Yeah, I just want to hold up the and I want to get very close to you. No, okay. I want to hold up this time and just the kind of courage it's requiring to get through our days. These are hard days, and I just want to pause here and just hold the fact that there's challenges, and there's anxiety, there's concern for our families, there's concern for our world, there's concern for how this moves forward in a time where it's not clear. We're in a deep unknown. So I just want to hold each of you in the sort of daily choices you're making to sustain yourself spiritually, emotionally, and that of your family and friends. And that I'm feeling you. I'm feeling the dailiness of these, and sometimes hour by hourness, and sometimes minute by minuteness, to stay present with all that's unfolding. So may the words of our ancestors, as they sang when they reached the other side, sort of hold us as we know that we are headed there. and we pack our timbrels right now because we are in the unknown, but we are headed to another side of this. So Micha Mocha, who is like you, courage, you're the only one. And let's sing it for each other. Let's sing it for ourselves. Here we go.
Courage, you're the only one. Courage, walking in the sun, reaching in the dark, listen to my heart. Courage, the back to the start. Michamocha, Bailim Adonai, Michamocha, Michamocha, Nedar BaKodesh, Michamocha.
Courage, look me in the eye. Courage, show me what's inside. Not to hold too tight, to know I'll be alright. Courage to fail and shine. Michamocha, Elim Adonai, mi kamocha, mi hamocha, nedar bakodesh, mi kamocha.
Breathing in and out, breathing in and out. Breathing in and out, breathing in Breathe it in and out, breathe it in and out. Breathe it in and out, breathe it in and out. Breathe it in and out, breathe it in and out. Breathe it in and out, breathe it in and out. Breathe it in and out, breathe it in and out. Breathing in and out, breathing in and out.
Breathing in and out. David will lead us with Tzur Israel as we rise and enter into the Amidah.
Tzur Israel kuma, kuma bezat Israel. Tzur Israel kuma, kuma bezat Israel. ופדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל. ופדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני ישראל. na 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 שפתיי תפתח na 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 ופי יגיד תהילתך na 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 שפתיי תפתח na 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 ופי יגיד תהילתך na 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 אדוני na 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 שפתיי תפתח na 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 ופי יגיד תהילתך.
Page 206.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah ve'Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד אתה מכלכל חיים מחטא חסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמר אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל.
Amen. Page 208, Kedusha. קדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מהו, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוכו הארץ כבודו, אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני מנקום, אחד הוא אלוהי הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו. לעיני כל חי אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. Page 210. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נגדיל, ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue in silent prayer through 219.
שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. יבוא שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלאם שלום. סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלאם שלום, סלאם שלום, סלאם שלום, סלאם שלום, סלאם שלום, סלאם שלום.
Beautiful. So now we are going to enter into the Torah service. Hey, I would love for any ark openers who'd like to come and open the ark right here. You are most welcome. Okay, I'll do it for you. We begin on 244, and we have the beautiful ark that Mark Werndorf has made. And that we will all dedicate on the day that we are all back together again. What a day that shall be. So let's now enter the Torah service 244, Ein Kamocha.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. רב הרחמים, היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמי.
Please rise if you have not already.
Top of page 246. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. Skip to the top of page 248. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Okay, friends, I'll say the Shema, and you can go ahead and take yourselves off of mute, and communally you'll answer back to the Shema and the Echad, and it'll be all the voices, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod,
Adonai Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Mekadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu
Adon Yaneinu
Kadosh גדלו לאדוני איתי, ונאוממה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדול והלב צפיה אור, כי כל בשמיים כי כל בשמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה תמיד נעשה לכל רוממו אדוני אלוהינו השתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. לי 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 לה 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 לה
May be seated. I have to say, this is always the wildest part of the service for me, doing the Torah service this way. But we do it, and we are in it. Here we are. Okay, so, friends, this Torah portion starts with the continuation of a story that's very intense, that starts at the last part of last parsha. So I have to tell you that story, even though it's not actually in this parsha, but this parsha continues and is the end of the story. What's happening is that there is, we're still in the wilderness, right? Lots of things go down in the wilderness in the unknown. And in this narrative, there is a dynamic happening where the people are worshiping Baal, another deity. And one of the ways in ancient times that you worship deities was through like a sacred sexuality, sacred sex in the space of where the deity was to be worshipped. And this is happening. The Israelite people are getting together with other people in the area where they are, and they are engaging in sacred sex as a form of worship of Baal. And God has declared just anger about this situation. And there is just total despair. There are people weeping about it. There's a plague that comes because of it. And it's a really intense situation. And God has declared, like, somebody's got to stop this. And so Pinchas, who is a priest, a Kohen, on the line of Aaron, family of Aaron, sees it about to happen, sees a couple going to do this sacred sexuality worship of a deity, and takes a spear and stabs them both through the belly to stop this. And it's very dramatic and intense. and that is the stabbing and what all that going down is the last ends the last parsha, and this parsha begins with hearing the Lord spoke to Moses saying, Pinchas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron. So Pinchas is Aaron's grandson. The priest, the Kohen, has turned back my wrath from the Israelites by displaying among them his passion for me. Sometimes that's said as his zealousness for me, for God. And because of that, I did not wipe out the Israelite people in my passion. So God's passion was countered by the Kohen's passion. Say, therefore, I grant him my pact of friendship. It's usually, sometimes it's called a pact of peace because it's a breach, shalom. For him and his descendants after him, a pact of priesthood for all time, because he took impassioned action for God, thus making expiation for the Israelites. So here we are in a kind of tremendously violent situation that God is appreciating and saying, because of this righteous action, there will be breach shalom with Pinchas, and he will be a priest. It's already an interesting thing because he's already a priest. And the priesthood is already given to Aaron. Anyway, and his son. So that's a kind of an interesting moment. We can talk about that in a bit. In any case, for this first Aliyah, I want us to expand our hearts here. I know that this is a troubling passage, and we are going to have a discussion about it in a moment. But before we go there, one of the approaches to Torah is as a psycho-spiritual teachings that we can open up in new ways. And rather than going, well, that's not me, I like to draw near and see what pieces could potentially hold something inside that we could connect with, as well as, of course, having all of our critical lens, our feminist lens, our peace-loving lenses, our anti-racism lenses, all the things that we wear, we will do that also too. And in this moment, though, I want to draw near because I want to pull out that this is in a time of plague, that they can't get to end. And we are in a time of plague that we can't seem to get to end. And that sort of anger and rash action, intense action of Pinchas. I wonder if you're in a place where you feel so tired of what is happening right now in this plague, and that you're having moments of just wanting to do rash action. I found myself yesterday when somebody walked by me very close without a mask on. Actually, I saw somebody yesterday with a mask. He was wearing it, but it was literally under his lips like this. And I felt this moment inside where I was just like wanting to scream, like, dude, pull up the mask. That is not how you wear it. Or just like, right? So I want to call up for this Aliyah, anybody who's in a place of feeling real anger and frustration and aware inside of your body, mind, spirit that you want to take action to stop this plague. So David, give us our new call to the Torah. We have a new call to Torah.
הבו גודל אלוהינו, תנו כבוד לתורה, נעמוד יחד לתורה.
Yachad LaTorah. We're calling everybody together to the Torah who wants to come up for this Aliyah, feeling inside yourself some anger and frustration in these times. So come on up to Torah. If you could stand so I know who's come up. Nobody's frustrated. It's me alone. Oh, Danny, you're with me. All right.
I'll join.
Okay, there you go. Okay, here comes some people. Hi, Glynis. Hi, Jessica. Oh, Eve, now we can see people. Beautiful. Okay, can somebody lead us And I just want to point out that Lila is going to be chanting Torah today. Thank you, Lila. So can somebody lead the blessing?
I can, unless somebody else would like to.
Go ahead.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן.
Amen. Vayetzaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon haKohen. Heishiv et chamati me'al bnei Yisrael. Vekano et kinati betocham. Velo chiliti et bnei Yisrael bekinati. Lachen emor. Hineni noten lo et briti shalom.
You're on mute, Sally, I think.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. A blessing for those of you who have come up for this Aliyah. A blessing. This is a blessing filled with great empathy and compassion for frustration, for anger that comes up in this time of plague that we are dealing with. May you honor those feelings, recognize them, not deny them, experience them, and find ways to express them and have them held by those you love, to share the frustrations, to share the anger, and to have it be held and transformed into righteous action. Action that is nonviolent, action that is loving, and that is good for the world. And we say, Amen. Okay, next, Aliyah. What happens next is that we come to hear about the families of who was killed, which is an interesting moment in Torah. It's not just somebody. There were two people, two Israelites, and this is an Israelite and a Midianite. But in fact, we pause here and we hear the name of the Israelite who was killed and their family. It was an Israelite and a Midianite woman. It was Zimri, son of Saul, chieftain of a Simeonite ancestral house. And the name of the Midianite woman who was killed was Cosbi, daughter of Zur. Zur is a tribal head of an ancestral house in Midian. The Lord spoke to Moses saying, go after the Midianites. Okay, so we're going to stop here and learn about the families of those who've died. I want to say that one of the things that's very real about this COVID time is that it's a time of death. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the numbers, but each day we're hearing about people who are dying because of COVID, both in our city, our state, our nation. And we're hearing in this time also the pulling out, both contemporary and some time back, of stories of people who've died because of police violence and racism. And so it's just a tremendous time of grief and death and honoring and recognizing of death that we're living in. So I want to call you forward if you are in a place of feeling the grief in our culture around us right now and wanting to pause to know the names and the stories of those who have died. in this time of death that's surrounding us. So Yachad LaTorah, Ta'amod, Ya'amod, please come to the Torah if you're in a place of wanting to pause. Even inside of an intense narrative, we're pausing in Torah to hear about who it is that who has died. Okay. Who would like to lead this Aliyah? Somebody want to lead the blessing? Josh?
Sure. Baruch Hu Adonai HaBarach. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'ha'eta lo uzarao acharav. Ritz kehunat olam. Tachat asher kinei lelohav. Vayechaper al bnei Yisrael. V'shem ish Yisrael hamukeh. Asher huka et hamidyanit. Dimri ben Salu. Nesi ve'tav lashimoni. V'shem ha'isha hamuka, hamidyanit kozbi vatzur, rosh umot beit av b'midyan hu.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'ha'ei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. A blessing for each of you who've come up for this Aliyah. May you find in this time the resources within you to not run from, not deny, but be with the tremendous grief in the loss of life that we are living through right now. May you find the resources and support within you to be with your own grief in these times. And may what we do in the Jewish tradition, which is to make their memories be for a blessing. Whether or not they are people you have known personally, may their lives move us towards greater connection as a world, as a nation. May it move us towards creating a world where people's healthcare needs can be cared for, where their bodies and souls will be safe from dynamics of race and other inequalities that are alive in our society. May we draw near to the grief in these times to transform it towards possibility. And we say, Amen. So this final of our three readings this morning starts with a pasuk, a verse that sort of took my breath away. It says, when the plague was over. And I just paused there and I just sat with that. When the plague was over. And I thought about what I'm hearing from people, from you as community and friends and family, that there are different ways that people are internally coping right now. And some people really do have their eyes on the future, on the prize, on the day when we could say, when the plague was over. And it's current in Torah because their plague is over, and then they take a census, they take a counting of the people. And we are going to need to do an accounting of our people and of our souls as we come out of this time. But we are not there yet. So I'm wondering, who of you this is how you're getting through these times? You are every day in the place of when the plague was over, right? You are future projecting into a time that you feel you can imagine and see in order to get through these days. Or perhaps that is not where you are. Maybe you're in the dailiness, the everyday presence of it, and you are not projecting into when the plague was over. So you would not come up for this aliyah. Hallelujah to presence. That's good. But for this particular aliyah, I'm curious just who's in that space of holding on to when the plague was over, that it will be over. And this is how you are imagining getting through, is by imagining when the plague is over and taking that accounting, the census we will do of who we are and what has happened to us. So, Yachad LaTorah, come together to the Torah if you are imagining the day when the plague is over.
Susan, can you tell me what chapter and verse we are?
Yes, sorry. Now this one begins with, the third one is Bamidbar, Numbers chapter 3, verse 25. Sorry, I said 3. It's the third aliyah. Numbers chapter 25, verse 16 through Numbers 26, verse 4. And I think that Ellen did put the link for those who wanting to be following digitally. But in your own book, Josh, it's Numbers 25, verse 16.
Got it.
26, 4. Okay, Susan, are you up for leading this Torah blessing? It's okay if you're not and just are standing up. Yes, hour back. No. Okay. Anybody else who's come forward to Torah, would you like to lead this blessing? I see Rebecca on your feet, and I see Sally. Sally, will you lead it? Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to see it, or should I just start?
Here it goes.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, Tzaror et hamidyanim, vehikitem otam, ki tzorerim hem lachem, venichlehem, asher niklu lachem al dvar peor, ve'al devar, kos bivat nesi midyan achotam, hamuka ve'yom hamagefa al dvar peor, Vayehi acharei hamagefa, vayomer Adonai el Moshe ve'el Elazar ben Aharon haKohen lemor, Seu et rosh kol adat bnei Yisrael, mi ben 20 shana v'mala leveit avotam, kol yotzei tzava beYisrael. Vayedaber Moshe ve'Elazar haKohen otam be'arvot Moav al Yarden Yerecho lemor, mi ben 20 shana v'mala kasher tziva Adonai et Moshe uvnei Yisrael hayotzi me'eretz Mitzrayim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. 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 So a blessing for those of you who came up. I partly want to see who you are because I want to know where the hope is in this community. So may those of you who are feeling and imagining and holding on to a time when this plague has passed, May you continue to do so. May you share your hope and your optimism with your friends and family and with this community. And may we all benefit from the creative imagination of holding on to a new future that we know in our bones is coming. Amen. So now with the Torah out, before we put the Torah away, we would like to take a moment to chant a healing prayer, Elna Rafana La prayer, such a time for healing prayers. If you would like to take yourself off of mute and share anybody who you're praying for right now, whose healing you're praying for, we welcome that.
Christina Raleigh, Joyce Lopez.
Deanna Ahmed, Ed Rappaport.
Kyle Wright, Dana Shackman.
Claude Casalino, Mimi Shore.
Nancy D.
Jose Bergero, Kimberly, John, Merle.
Francine Meyer.
Chaim Steinberger.
Ray Chalin, Reed Newworth.
I'll add Lottie Brush. She's recovering from a surgery. She's doing well. What else?
Harry DeLighter.
We also hold in our hearts all those who are struggling to breathe with COVID, who are struggling for strength and energy with ongoing conditions. And we just hold all of us and the mental health of everyone going through this time, and especially those who are particularly struggling with mental health at this time. Elna Rafana La, God, please heal her. Elna Rafana Lo, God, please heal him. Elna Rafana Lahen, please heal them. And Elna Rafana Li, please heal me with Refuah Shlema, complete healing, a healing of wholeness.
Elna Rafana La, Elna Rafana La, Elna Rafana Lo, Elna Rafana Lo, Elna Rafana La, Elna Rafana La, Elna Rafana Li, Elna Rafana Li, Rafana La, Rafana Lo, Rafana La, Rafana Li, Rafana Li. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לבני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Yeah. Rabbi Susan, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
I was apologizing that I lifted the Torah so high it was hard to see, but I think I've lowered it back down. Okay, everyone, we're gonna chant Eitz Chaim as we return the Torah to the Ark. David, do you have a page number on that? Eitz Chaim.
Eitz Chaim. Let's see.
I think it's 256.
256. Let's all rise as we return the Torah to the Ark.
Thank you, Sally. 256 on the bottom. Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba betomcheya meushav derachea dachenoam v'honetivotea shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekeder.
Okay, everyone. So, as you can see, juicy Torah portion for our Torah discussion this morning. I want to just remind everybody that we do in Nefesh the triennial reading, which means that every 3 years the Torah is read. It's an ancient practice. And so it was just felt so beshert that in our first year of being an independent Nefesh community, it was in the part 1 of the triennial cycle. So we hopped in this. So we read the beginning of each Torah portion this year. Next year we'll be doing middles, and the third year we'll be doing ends. And then that's how in 3 years you read the whole Torah. So in the beginnings of this parsha, we get straight into Pinchas. This idea of a brit shalom, a pact of friendship, or really a covenant of peace. A brit is a covenant of peace, of shalom. One of the things that's fascinating about Torah script is that sometimes, based on an ancient practice, a scribe is instructed to write letters a certain way. I wonder if, Lila, did you notice anything? Are you aware of anything odd in the Brit Shalom writing in Torah?
Sorry, maybe I lost it.
It's okay, no worries. I just wondered if you were. I heard a story once of a Orthodox rabbi who was chanting. He was a young rabbi, he was new to a community, and he was chanting, and he saw this, which is a broken vav in the word shalom. And he was like, uh-oh, you guys have an unkosher Torah. A letter is broken. And he like said, we have to stop the Torah reading. He put it away, got out another Torah. They had more than one, and saw it again. And then he thought, uh-oh, maybe the uh-oh's on me. Because in all Torah scrolls, the vav in the word shalom is broken. So Pinchas is given this brit shalom, this covenant of peace for this act of zealousness. And within the writing of it, the shalom is broken. The vav inside of it needs to be written broken. So that does give you pause, no? To think about what kind of, what's the thoughts there. I have for you a Torah study sheet that is going to sort of explore the broken vav a bit, and you can discuss it. I want to tell you that on the Torah sheet that will be in the chat that you can go to, there's two sections. One section, I'm also just always fascinated how whenever names are, remember when Lila chanted, thank you so beautifully, Lila, chanted the like, who were these people, right? Oh, it was Cosby, and right, the whole background of the people. I give for you the Rashi at the very beginning of the sheet. Who are they? Like, I love how the tradition, anytime a name is listed, they want to give you a little information. And that's one of my very, very favorite things about Torah, is the midrash that can send you off on who were these people and what was their background and who were their parents and who were their grandparents. And, you know, so there, I gave you a little taste of that. It's not much, but it's a taste. And you can look at that or not. But then the second part is writing about this idea of the broken vav. First text you will see will be a sort of traditional explanation, which I also find problematic, that maybe Pinchas had a disability, which is kind of an interesting idea to think about it. Maybe his zealousness came from a mental disability, perhaps, that he was a Baal Mum, that he had a defect of potentially of character, except for that's not where the traditional explanation goes to, saying he had a disability, therefore, you know, it has to do with him not being able to serve as priest. But anyway, we've talked about that day when we were deconstructing some of the disability stuff in Torah a couple months ago. And there's another explanation connecting Pinchas with Eliyahu. You'll see all those, you'll see that in the first one. And then the second text is by John Rosav, who used to be at Temple Israel of Hollywood and is a colleague and a mentor. He's always been very kind and supportive to me, especially when I was getting into trouble at the other temple. He has a lovely Kabbalistic sharing from Jonathan Omerman about the broken vav, which is also interesting to read. So those are the texts that you'll be looking at. I would say, in terms of your small group, don't get too stuck in the genealogy stuff. It's just there because I find it quite delightful, and you might nerd out on that kind of stuff too, and then spend the next week or 20 years looking up the genealogy of everybody. You're welcome to that. But I do want the heart of the discussion to be on the broken vav, both different takes of it that are being offered to you, but also your own take. Why would that be written with the broken vav? And that to be, the other text I include is from the Talmud, just a short passage which says that the vav is broken. Just so you know that it's from way back that we are to write that vav broken in Shalom. Okay, so you're gonna go to small group.
Do you want me to put that, to share that screen? I mean, I did put the link in the chat for everybody. If anyone else needs it, I can also share it, my screen.
You can share the screen, and I'll just show. Everybody will see first the genealogy pieces, which are just Rashi comments. Not just, they are Rashi comments. Rashi, 900s first Torah commentator in the region of France. Here it comes, I think. So you'll see the first stuff is Rashi, and also the actual text of Torah is in the Torah reading page that's also in the chat. So this is the commentary on what we just read, that Lila just chanted, and that is, well, go ahead, down. Okay, so here we go. And then this is from Kiddushin, from Talmud 66b, from Where Do We Vibe, that the service of a blemished priest is retroactively invalid. Remember, I'm telling you blemished, this mum idea that if you have a disability, you can't serve him. And then it's about the broken shalom, and then Rosav. Oh, we're missing one of the texts. Oh, that's too bad. That's okay. We'll do this one. I don't know why the other one that connected Pinchas to Elijah. That's okay.
This is the one that.
That's okay. I must have put it in and somehow deleted it, but I didn't mean to. I think when I put in the Talmud text, it might have covered it up. It doesn't matter. There's plenty here. So go ahead into small groups with this text. And the text of the Torah itself, remember, is in the Torah reading document, also on Safaria. Or you could just click into Safaria once you're there. Okay, go. Welcome back, everybody. I just wanted to share that the text that you didn't get was a couple of different takes, like Baal Turim, who's a commentator who says that when the vav is broken, I looked it up actually this week, what scribes are told. There's different ways to do it. You can sort of make it look like a little side by side or different parts, or sometimes it's really broken enough to look like a yud. And so there's the letter yud, because the vav is like that, and yud is like that, so that would be half. So there's a couple takes on this idea of being yud stands for 10, so then they use gematria to say it's the 10 things that people are supposed to give priests, the 10 kinds of offerings to priests. There's also this idea that Elijah's name is often not spelled with the yud, therefore, like Pinchas and Elijah, it points to messianic times. And then the only one traditionally that was shared that it could be some negative comment actually on Pinchas has to do not with his actions here, which were upright, but later in the book of Judges when he doesn't do something right that he should have. So therefore, it's broken as a comment on Pinchas. So just opening up to any thoughts that came up in your discussion about this. Go ahead, Jessica. Or you can't unmute. Bobby, can you help Jessica unmute?
Oh, wait, now it works. Okay. This is not what was in the commentary, but for me, like I reread the commentary and I was like, oh, this is not where I thought this was going to go. So where my mind went when hearing this story was back to the golden calf incident and the broken tablets, and the moment where we talk about how, you know, after we've built the ark, tablets go in, and you have the broken tablets and the perfect tablets in there, and these sort of complex covenants built on relationships that are imperfect, you know, that there's fractures and things like that. And this incident reminds me a lot of it because it's a moment of God's fury and then somebody tempering God's fury and then a covenant of peace. But I thought I was expecting this to be sort of a broken vav in the middle of like a peace covenant that was this sort of complicated thing. And that, I mean, that's where my heart went, and it was not where Rashi or the other ones went, but
That's beautiful. I love that idea of the brokenness and the wholeness, right? We're always struggling with broken and whole, and we certainly get that with the tablets, and that this could be another moment of broken and whole. It's beautiful. Thank you. Any other thoughts? Yes, Susan.
Well, just to continue on that thought, and thank you for that comparison, that we're carrying the brokenness with us, and presumably Pinchas is going to be carrying the sort of all the issues associated with his zealotry with him, that it's not a perfect whole brit, and it's a forever altered brit that will never be quite the shalem, the wholeness of maybe a typical brit shalom. I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Thank you. And also the idea of what he carries with him is really important, because what happened to that family, right? What happened to his two uncles? They made that offering, Nadav and Abihu, right? And they were taken. They offered strange fire, Eish Sarah. Those were his uncles. So he also comes from this family of being like, we better do it right. Right? And maybe he was like, well, God said we have to stop this. I'm going to interpret this pretty intensely, because in my family, I know what happens when we don't do it right. You know? Yeah, Danny.
Well, just adding on to that, I mean, I don't know how, or if there's any, if you know, Susan, how it came to be decided that in the Torah scroll that Vav would be written in that way, right? But for me, it feels like a secret or not so secret message. Like, this person is being, you know, we want you to understand that although we're giving him this thing of peace, that you all understand that it wasn't peaceful what he did. So don't think that it's okay to hurt people physically. Like, that's feels like a message to me from whoever did that. Like, not really.
That's how I've always experienced it too, right? That there's a commentary just from it being broken. Like, you all can explain it away how you want. However, it is broken. There is something broken in this, you know, that we have to face. And there are other really interesting moments in Torah where the text is altered. And we know it's as old as the, you know, late antiquity times, because it is talked about in the Talmud. So who originally decided to do that? I mean, we don't know, but it was carried on.
But the mystical interpretation that John Rosoff talks about sort of explains away any guilt or prosecution of Pinchas, I would think.
Yes.
And it's a little confusing in terms of the protagonist's will is God's will. It is the perpetrator of this, the young man and young woman. Their love was so great it couldn't be contained.
Yes.
And so God gave them that kind so this could happen, and then it be explained away by the mystics in a way. And right. Him being guiltless, though it's troubling.
Yeah, I thank you, Nancy, for bringing that up. I that's why I shared that John Rosoff's take on it, Rabbi Rosoff's take, because that comes from that mystical tradition of the power of this union between Cosby and Zimri. And there's also that take, interestingly enough, in the tradition about Nadav and Abihu, that rather than, it wasn't a punishment, in fact, they were being lifted up into the fire because of their big-hearted desire and passion for God, that rather than being killed in that moment, that they were actually more elevated. So there was also that connection of there's a greater union here that gets elevated. Yeah.
And it's a union that, like it was mentioned in Romeo and Juliet, but almost every opera, you know, is, you know, you have to die to realize the love, Siegfried or, you know, Tosca or whatever. It's like, or Man and Butterflies and other, you know, sort of great melodramatic drama.
Yes.
Artworks.
We need a Cosby and Zimri opera.
Yeah.
I'll do that a lot.
That's a very troubling interpretation for me. I mean, it's like, basically like there's this mystical way of thinking. This, I don't know, this just seems, you know, I mean, they got a knife to their stomachs, and I feel like the Torah is full of stories of like a God that we might not recognize or want to recognize, of anger and jealousy, of God-sanctioned violence. And that's part of, whether you believe it's part of our history or you believe it's part of our history in the sense that later generations like wanted to explain or, you know, like create folklore, like for where we come from. Regardless, it's like, these are our stories. And so I don't know, I'm trying to really even see whether I believe there's such thing as like levels, like pure desire versus like desire is desire. So I'm troubled by this like insistence on doing away with what's like obviously there in the text, you know.
Yes. Violence of the biblical God.
I have a perspective because you were saying that the sexual act was for ritual worship.
Yeah.
And that is something that is part of pagan tradition even today. And Judaism does not see sex as a bad thing, and in fact does see, love making as a holy act, and it is to God. So I don't feel like his zealotry wasn't about the sex per se so much as it was not towards the one God. It was kind of similar to the golden calf. I mean, this is returning to the old ways, and it was not worship of Hashem. So there's that. But the other thought that I had around this was an extreme act. He murdered these people. Was he punished? And how much was the community responsible for letting it get to that point? How come the community didn't gather together if there was a feeling? Were people in denial? Were they, not stepping up, turning away? And he's the one that did step up and do something, and it was too extreme. And if the community, because if this had been going on for a long time, then the community has to take responsibility as well. And in a way, it relates to Black Lives Matter and deaths that should not be.
Well, we hear in the portion just before that the people are weeping. So there's expression of feeling, but nobody has taken action.
They were weeping before or after the killing? Before?
They're weeping about what was happening in the community. Somewhere.
But that's not really action, is it, though?
True. This is great. Josh, I saw you had your hand up. Thank you for all these comments. This is really all great.
Just to echo that, which is like, George Floyd said, I want to change the world. And there are all these martyrs, and, hopefully not in vain. And then it does, fall upon us to take it up and continue and make for change.
Oh, so rich. Love, violence, vengeance, desire, reconciling or don't reconcile with this kind of ancient text. I mean, all of these questions.
Intolerance.
Yeah, and
and prejudice and judgment.
Cause might be good, but the means are really bad. Right? I'll just leave you with this idea. When we hear that line in Torah that says, Tzedek, Tzedek tirdof, do you guys know that line, that verse, that pasuk? It says, justice, justice, you shall pursue. And there's always a question, like, why are we repeating Tzedek? Why isn't it just Tzedek tirdof? Why is it Tzedek? Yeah, Tzedek, Tzedek tirdof. And one of the main commentaries says, because how you go about getting justice also matters, right? So you shall pursue. So the first one is justice you shall pursue. That would be if you said it once. If you say it twice, it says kind of through justice you pursue justice, if you will. So that the ways don't justify the means. And that's, whew, I grew up having a lot of conversations about what are strategies that are okay to make political change, and others that are not because they cause more harm. This is a whole longer conversation. There's an issue right now that's very alive. Should people be going to the doorstep of somebody's home to protest? Even if you don't agree with them, is that harassment? And you don't like their policies, is it okay to go to their house? Like, how do we pursue making change in a way that still holds justice within it? And so these are very, very alive questions, because I would say maybe what he was trying to stop made sense, but how he did it was not okay. We need to wrap up with Elenu and Kaddish. Glynis, did you have your hand up at some point? Do you want to make a quick comment, or are you good? I don't know if you heard me, Glynis. Okay, let's move to the Elenu. Oh wait, are you unmuted? Okay, can't tell. Maybe you could tell us in the chat. Let's move to the Elenu. Any things to share? Any joyful things anybody wants to say before we enter into the Elenu on 282?
I had a grand niece in the middle of the night last night.
Ah, Mazel Tov. That's great. Gabo's having another baby? That's amazing. Masha'ah tova, Glynis. Great. All right. Last things. All right. Well, let's stand up. We can read more things later if they come up. 282. Here we go. Elenu. Stand up. Face to the east.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
In a moment, we'll conclude with the Kaddish prayer and I'll say Shalom. Before we do, just want to say how lovely it was to have all of you with us this morning for this Shabbat morning service. I want to thank Lila again for her chanting. I want to thank always and ongoing and deeply and soulful, never-ending gratitude to you, David, and to you, Sally. Just always grateful. And Bobby, thank you. And Ellen, thank you. And Rebecca, before your internet crashed, thank you. We have Erev Shabbat service this coming Friday night. We also have the continuation, for those of you who are in it, of the anti-racism training on Wednesday night. And we have a teen group is going to look at race and the education system this Thursday to kick up this 3-part teen learning on Tikkun Olam and just getting to see each other. So that's happening. Any other things to share? I think that is it. Kaddish prayer is on page 294. If you're saying Kaddish today, if you want to share the name of a loved one with us who you are saying Kaddish for. Ellie Bluestein.
My mother, Blanche or Bilha, it's her yard site, July 4th.
Harit Ryder. Okay. And David, you're saying it on behalf of your Abba, your father.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ועל מה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי. וחייכונו ויום איכונו חיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבא מברך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. שמי דקודשה.
בריך.
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה. דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבא מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם ואמרו
אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם ואמרו אמן.
Amen. You're going to wrap your arms around each other. Here we are together. Let's say Shabbat.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל העולם.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Rest of your Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Outside, walking around, reading. Shabbat shalom.
Have a good week.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Please take yourself off.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.